It's almost 11:30 in Arizona. Okay. Welcome to day 3 of Reshaping the Earth. Thank you all for being here online, for people watching the recording later, which is in 4 languages. And welcome to the people who are in person at Diamond Mountain Retreat Center doing ecological restoration work. Your work is the heart of what's going on. You're out there hands-on, building loose rock dams, capturing water, improving soil. So thank you so much. I'm very excited today. The first 2 days, we've had wonderful speakers about catching water, improving soil, putting seed on the land with seed balls, collecting native seeds. So many interesting topics already. Today, we're going to be shifting a little bit to being more people-oriented. We have a wonderful speaker, Twila Casadore, who has joined us from nearby in the Arizona area. She's a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe. She's an Arizona-based forager, which is wild food, collecting wild food. And she is a food educator, advocating for indigenous food sovereignty. Before Twila speaks, we have 2 other items that are going to happen. One of them is a brief introduction about what Sky Harvest does, the nonprofit, one of the nonprofit partners here. And Kat is going to be doing that, Kat Airhorn. But before we turn it over to Kat, let me just tell you that right after Kat speaks, we're going to be watching a video, which Twila is featured in, a short documentary. So when Kat is finished speaking about Sky Harvest, the tech team, thank you very much, tech team, translators, all of the people who have come together to make this happen. The tech team will hopefully run that video when Kat is done speaking. So Kat, you'll let them know when you're ready for that. And then when the video is done, Twila will be joining us to speak. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Kat. Thank you so much.
Thank you from Sky Harvest as one of the sponsors of this event for coming to the summit. Sky Harvest is a new nonprofit, and we are very excited to be working with Diamond Mountain, with Borderlands Restoration Network, and most of all with you. The mission statement at skyharvest.org says that we identify and empower initiatives that transform degraded land into living ecosystems of accelerated carbon drawdown. We follow solutions-based patterns found in nature, and then we apply human hands to repair damage done to the land and habitat. The goal is to restore and protect soil, water, and air so that biodiversity will thrive. And that said, it is so that all species can live in a healthy habitat, including the humans. So Sky Harvest has been charged to help different kinds of land stakeholders solve their land use problems, and improve the environment through education and hands-on efforts. We're working on large holdings in wilderness areas, such as Diamond Mountain, on neighboring grasslands ranches, in small rural towns, at local mines, nut orchards, and vineyards. This week's efforts with you repairing the watershed, along with the highly informative presenters from local passionate experts, all have a common theme in direct support of that mission, illustrating the importance and impact of your individual and collective involvement. We know that when following the examples of our great Mother Earth, it does take a village to repair habitat. Sky Harvest recognizes each and every one of you with enormous gratitude for caring to make a difference. Because, believe it or not, it is you who makes all the difference in the world. So please stay involved. Please stay in touch with each other and with skyharvest.org to learn of ongoing local needs and ways to contribute your all-important contributions. Okay, time for Twila's video. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. The three of us are very privileged to be here from where we come from. For us, being on the White Mountain Apache tribe, that's one of the many places that's actually ground zero for American colonialism. And our landscape, which we'll talk about, is very calorie rich, but for a number of reasons, it's considered a food desert. And as you'll see, we'll talk about how tripped out it is, because 70% of all foods consumed around the world today originated by indigenous peoples of the Americas. So the mother sauces that come from the tomato, all the spicy foods of Asia, zucchini, Swiss chocolate, Irish potatoes, it's all BS, man. It's all native foods, for real. We brought with us some tastes of the landscape, and we're gonna mix a little bit of Apache land with stone barns because we got some cool stuff. And for us in Western Apacheria, there's all these root vegetables that we eat. There's wild carrots, wild potatoes, wild onions. So we're making like a root vegetable salad, and Chef will give you some tea there. How you doing over there, Chef?
I'm almost done, Chef.
See, my background is classical French, but all that journey was shadowed by chemical dependency. It wasn't until I crash landed back on the res that I began to explore the universe of native foods, and that was one of the things that helped me to get clean. So I'm gonna run you through this presentation, and I'll shut up and cook, huh? You want to attack a people and wipe them out? Attack their food. Millions of people all across the Americas with complex civilizations, complex trade routes, complex societies, systematically wiped out by some of the first forms of biological warfare and terrorism, right? That happened from starting here on the East Coast. Our food system has been colonized. That's the reason that we don't have that relationship with some of those traditional foods anymore. And colonial violence has never gone away. So when you see statistics like alcoholism, diabetes, and homicide, suicide rates on reservations. Those are the physical manifestations of colonialism today in real life. And it's through foodways that we engage in a recovery from historical trauma and promote indigenous healing and self-determination. The way you consume native foods that we'll prepare today, it'll be, yeah, good, nutritious, and all that, but for a group of Apache people, it would be completely different. We would reconnect with those themes of ancestral knowledge and spirituality, prayer, time, and place in a healing way.
What we're doing is reintroducing our young people to the land, the food, and our traditional ways of healing.
Rat hunting?
Yeah, pack rat hunting. It's called glishcha, May.
Glishcha?
Yeah, glishcha. May came from a shattered home, and we're thankful she's where she's at now because she's learning how to reconnect. Dida koi, tagi, planeke tagi. And this one, watch out for these stickers, okay?
Okay. Owie.
See, this is what we're looking for. See his stuff?
Yeah?
That means he lives here.
See, dude, I can't.
May, come here, help me. Stab him in the head. Oh, you let him go.
So sad.
No, you don't want to run in there. Here, May, take a look at this. This is all rattlesnake. It's a huge rattlesnake. See this?
Yeah.
So he's living in there, so we can't dig in there.
Yeah.
Dini ma asli. Cause a rattlesnake, eh? So we'll go find another one.
You already see
If
a
it
lot?
comes out this way, you hit it. Okay?
Okay.
You'll find out if we chase it out. Okay, I see him. Don't move.
I'm scared.
Step in front of him! Hit him! Got him! I work with a lot of people that are living in shattered environments, but actually coming out here and reconnecting and healing. This is a different way of coping. It's a form of healing our ancestors have always known, and it still works.
Oh, jeez. Where'd you get your rat at?
Now this one I got from near Takalai Lake in the mountains. So then we just put it in here. I'm very selective of where I get these because you look at the surrounding area, like they kind of live like within a 25-foot radius. So in that radius, if there's medicine plant, medicine berries, I know they're eating it. So a lot of the medicine we can't eat. If we grab and eat it, it'll get us sick or either something. These guys eat it, but it filters through their body. And so it has a healing component in it.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, and when you go after these, you only want to hit on the head, so you won't ruin the body.
How long was it cooking?
It cooked until you can pull the tail and the fur falls off.
Was that half an hour, hour?
It just breaks
Maybe
off.
about 15 minutes. 30?
That one was more, I think.
Yeah, maybe 30.
30.
Okay, now see, this is how it's supposed to be. See how soft?
Yeah.
Okay, now try that.
I'm trying to think of what it's like without saying chicken, but it's like chicken.
Oh yeah, quail.
Yeah.
This is really
Soft,
nice.
man.
Yeah, now this is what you want.
Special.
It does.
Is this some chicken now?
How's most of like the community members down St. Carlos, how they respond to some of this stuff?
Well, I took a group of women out last Thursday. They really enjoyed it. These are women that are so stressed from work. They went out there, they they had a ball. It's like watching a soccer game. I mean, they were running and screaming and throwing rocks and sticks.
You introduced it to any white dude chefs?
No.
No? Cool. You should. I was teasing.
No. I don't know. I think some things just stay in its own region
Yeah?
because this food source will not be accepted out there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's accepted in our community.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see something like this, it wakes you up.
Yeah.
So sick lah.
Like-
It wakes you up.
You know, as you think about it, it's even emotional because you think of all these Apache relatives throughout history hunting and cooking these, you know? It's making me question how humble I really am, you know? Like, am I really humble when it comes down to eating and cooking and appreciating, you know? Like, it's kind of making me think, like, I really don't know anything still, you know? Well, it's nothing until you get your first taste of gloscho.
This is the best part. Okay, you're gonna like this. Here you go, Nephi.
It's good to be.
Thank you. And we'll turn it over to Twila now.
So, Dad, my name is Twila Casadore. I am from the San Carlos Apache tribe. I am been here all my life. I can honestly say that I'm not, how you say, I'm a traditional food forager. And what I do is what I mentioned in the film is sharing the knowledge of traditional food ways. I'm not, how you say, a professional, you know, with a degree or any type of educational background in the work that I do. I grew up learning about some of our traditional food and reconnecting later in my life. I work with a project called the Western Apache Diet Project and is based out of San Carlos. And we work with the 4 Western Apache tribes, White Mountain, Camp Verde, Payson, and San Carlos. It's a project that began in 1993 under the administration of a former chairman, Harrison Talgo Sr., in collaboration with elders at that time that were in their 60s to 80s, and that was in 1993, that were raised by their grandparents. These elders were carefully selected by leadership also in collaboration under this project is working with an awesome anthropotanist named Seth Pelix. And he's been with the tribe more than 30 years. He's very well respected and has gained a great amount of trust from all the people. I started working with him a little more than 10 years. And for myself was reconnecting with traditional food ways and just wanting to learn more. So listening to everyone, you know, listening to where Desert Mountain, I believe it's Desert Sky is coming from. It's very similar to the portrayal in the little documentary we showed earlier. The importance of the work that is being done, the importance of healing, and the importance of moving forward. We're in a time where we can no longer hold others accountable for many of the things that have occurred throughout life. They're hurtful, yes. History, they're an untold history, yes. But we have to move forward in order to help this planet heal. And that's the bigger picture. Is helping people heal and helping the planet heal. So having this conference is very important, not just for us, but for our future and for Mother Earth. Excuse me. The way I explain things, I don't have the greatest speaker talent. Okay, I just speak. That's just who I am. We're looking at the land and how we can help. And I'm gonna just share a brief story about when I started off. And I always will reference it in a way where maybe I'll help people understand some things. Myself, my background, my history is not the best history there is. And one day I decided I wanted to no longer be in the situation I was once in, which was a very negative situation. And I found my elders that decided to take me out to the river and say, let's go get some materials for a basket. I knew about baskets, but I never really had the interest in baskets. So we went out and we went to a very familiar place where things occurred to me in my very early childhood that I won't bring up, but you might understand. When I was taken to this place, my relatives knew what had occurred to me as a small child in this place. But it's taboo in our culture to talk about it. So if we can't talk about it, how do we heal? Some of us, we heal silently, but we heal. But it's with the support of my relatives, without words, was taking me out to harvest and forage in a place that's healthy, not disturbed, and how you can say still intact with its original form. and I was able to forage and harvest materials for the basket. They let me be alone for a moment, maybe well more than a moment. But what I did was cry because I remembered the pain. And I also cried because I learned to let go and to move forward and not to let pain and hurt consume me anymore. And I think the same with our landscape. It endured a lot of pain as modernization, inhabited a lot of life with no respect to the natural resources around, to the water, to the air, to the sky. They heal silently. And I share my story because I feel that's how Mother Earth is also healing silently. And with people's help and collaboration and how you say this continuity of wanting to help her heal, help her in her healing process is very important. The work I do out here on the reservation is amazing. I work with a former, a former forest manager, D. Randall. And he has been our forest manager for more than 30 years, I believe. And he has used traditional ecological knowledge in maintaining the forest here on the San Carlos Apache Reservation, 1.8 million acres. In doing so, was looking at traditional methods of how to maintain the land, how to help the land, how to make more using those traditional methods that weren't practiced, in his fields and other areas and other forest services. And with his work was also helping allow me and others to preserve areas of foraging that are important to the people, preserving land places, also making sure there's adequate water running into these areas, making sure there are some areas that, are prescribed burns to help with the regrowth in some of the land to help the land heal and to continue to thrive. And I believe that's what a lot of the work is being done. That's a conversation today in all areas. So also partnering with local programs like the healthcare system, the school system, is bringing back traditional vegetation into the landscape in the surrounding areas of these facilities. Are these, how you say, schools, and looking at different types of plants that are more adapted to this landscape instead of bringing, plants that are not from here and investing in their own landscape. And that itself is also helping with the minimum amount of water usage, looking at different type of produce that don't require a lot of water, learning how to, manage their gardens more efficiently, and that's in cooperation with the University of Arizona Extension Office, as well as the Dabikia Farm up in White Mountain, and also with Chiji Farm up in Loop, Arizona. They're doing really amazing work. Dabikia is using a lot of the traditional knowledge to help maintain the land and help, produce a lot of food. And what do you call this place? They call it a food desert. Okay, I understand it's called a food desert where we live. And that's due to the distance of not being able to get to grocery stores. But having more people plant respectfully, that's helping with that also. I'm going to share during COVID, when that hurt a lot of people. Before COVID, I used to give out seeds to people, family, and on average, about 40 gardens a year. During COVID, and everyone had this deep concern for food supply, was going back to traditional foodways. What's out there? What's growing? What can we eat? What are the seasons? There was a more awakening of that, wanting to know about traditional food that are out in the landscape. Also, there was more than 160 gardens that produce in the community. That was just amazing. I was so happy to see so many people be drawn to gardening and wanting to plant. So any questions so far?
I'm watching the chat and I'll read to you if there's any questions that come up.
Okay.
If there's any questions in the room, the people on site can let us know as well. Thank you, Twila. I think we can keep going. We have about 15 more minutes and we can ask for questions again.
Okay. So you're going back to the landscape and you're seeing all types of changes in the past. You see climate change. And with climate change, I personally have seen the effect of it in comparison to years when I was younger. And you see not a lot of our plants came back. The edible plants or medicine plants, ceremonial plants, many plants did not come back like it normally used to. And that's the great effect of climate change. The effect also of climate change also affects the health of people. Not being able to have access to these type of medicinal plants or ceremonial plants or other plants, it also disheartens you. And it, how you can say is, it changes your mind. It changes your mindset, and it affects our human, our human spirituality also. So the health of the land is also the health of the people. And I'm just speaking mostly on the I can speak for here, for the people that participate in ceremonies. And you see that recently with this beautiful rain that came, we were blessed with this beautiful rain that came, and so many food came up. And working with my elders was being able to work. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the project itself. Working with the elders was able, we were able to document, record, and analyze a large number of food sources. Not only that, but also the, how you say, what makes us who we are, our language, our songs, our ceremonies, our prayers, our foodways. And those were part of the 5 focus. And that was the 5 focus of our former chairman, was what would happen if we do not retain this? What will happen if we lose this? And it's also the same with the health of the land. What will happen if we do not move or take action on what we're going to do in order to maintain and preserve the land? And it's the same with the people. So with this project, was able to create a database system that catalog every single aspect, basically, of who we are, except for the ceremonial part and some of the belief system parts you can't touch. But the basic parts that we can touch was being able to put that into a system. And in that system, there are way over 200 edible plant foods. I use 200 because that's the most common food. And with the 200, what I do is go back and infuse it into the school system, the education system, the healthcare system, different programs, and helping people reconnect. So with the pack rat hunting, which you had seen, which is also a lot of fun, it teaches young people about the landscape. You can't hunt where there's trash. You can't hunt where there's contaminants in the ground. You can't hunt, in certain areas that is populated by people. You hunt in an area where it's clean. So when they see trash, and I'm talking about 3rd, 4th graders. So when they see trash, they'll say, "Oh, we can't hunt there." And they say, "Why?" And there's trash there. And that pack rat's probably eating that trash. And so slowly and unconsciously, they're learning how important it is to keep the land clean. A clean land means healthy food. Healthy food means you don't have to worry about anything when you're consuming the food. The same with the traditional foods. We don't collect locally because of all the pollutants in the area, and you want to go further away from the community to collect edible plants to forage.
We do have a question if you'd like to take it about what type
Oh.
of food plants are foraged. Can you
Oh,
give us
there's
some ideas?
okay, so you got your roots, tubers, fungi, minerals, nuts, berries. It changes every season. I always tell everyone it's never Taco Tuesday, never. And you will find different food sources. Oh, food. Okay, so there's different ranges of food sources out there, starting from spring to your spring plants to like at this very moment. What? Oh, you're gonna see like these. Okay, so I don't know if you can see these beautiful sumac berries. Can you see them? Okay.
For me,
Hello.
your video is frozen right now. Oh, there they are. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You got them. So we
Yeah,
got
you have to hold them just so because of the blurring.
in the front of the house. Oh, also have a bucket of peaches back here in the front. I have the yucca bananas. We're gonna go collect more at the moment. I don't know. I believe you have yucca bananas in your area also. So there's all different types of food. It takes, how you say, it takes an acquired taste for a lot of the food. A lot of the food aren't so exciting as some foods. Some of them are exciting. If you had saguaro fruit, that's probably the best fruit in the whole Southwest. That's just me speaking. The best fruit you'll ever have. So, have any of you ever tried a saguaro fruit? Well, the saguaro cactus fruit.
It sounds good. Maybe some people in the room on site have tried it.
Okay, so next year in the summer, I really strongly suggest going out on a foraging expedition, probably out in the Southwest. I know they do have it out in Ajo, and they do have foraging events for saguaro harvest fruits. You go on one of those, it really helps you reconnect with the land. And working with the people that know how to work with the food, you gain more in understanding about how it's processed, how it's collected, the song that they sing during their time before they collect. There's it gives you, I guess, a native perspective on this great appreciation of what Mother Earth is blessing us with. Normally, many of us will go to grocery stores and we just buy, take things off the shelf. When you're out with nature, especially if you're doing in a traditional approach, I always like to do in a traditional approach is always with prayer first. And I always reference back to like when you're going to your grandmother's house or to your auntie's house or your grandfather's house, you don't go to their house and take. You ask them, may I? You ask them in a respectful way. If you're hungry, if you want to eat something. That's the approach we take with the young people when we're foraging, is that same approach. And it helps them to respect the land, also the plant. So some of it is when we're doing the pack rat hunt. And some people will go back and say, oh, that was poor people's food. Who labeled us poor? Who put it in a person's mind that that was poor people's food. If you could not buy something, you were poor. And I totally do not agree with that. People were so rich in knowledge and balance with the land, but were stereotyped poor. Isn't that amazing? And so I took a young child, took her back to her grandmother, went through the process of the hunt, and she shared with her grandchild, and I'll always say, it's like this older woman took a dusty book off of a bookshelf because it was poor people's food. So she put that knowledge aside. And what she did was opened it up. We used to eat it like this. We used to hunt it like this. We used to cook it like this. We used to go here. We were here. All these memories flooded into her mind. And she's so happy to share that knowledge. And today, a lot of people with the sharing of these traditional foodways is also opening up those books, because there was a time it was considered, oh, you do what? That's just for poor people. But now that dialogue is changing. And you see a lot of people coming back to those traditional knowledge about maintaining the land, where to collect your water, why it's important to do this. You know, this connection, this beautiful connection, not just within the native communities, but globally. You see a lot of people reconnecting with the land. And I feel it's a very, how you say, an awakening happening with people. They're understanding the importance of maintaining the land and taking care of her so she can take care of us, and so we can take care of her. So with that, I'd like to say thank you for allowing me time and presence with all of you.
Thank you. We're going to do some questions. I think,
Okay.
Tat, we can't hear you.
I have one question for you, Twila, please. Thank you so much for your information. We're blessed to hear your words today. When you gave out seeds to the community for them to grow at home, assuming maybe not everybody knows how to garden, did you have a selection of certain varieties of vegetables for people to grow that were successful?
Oh yes, we mostly collected seeds that were adapted from the community, and these are seeds that are always were somehow connected to community before. Okay, this is so-and-so's grandpa's seeds. These are the seeds that came from their field. This is the seed that came from so-and-so's squash field. These are the seeds. So just working in collaboration with the communities, all the communities, and for them donating. I mean, they donate buckets and buckets of seeds. And what I did was just scooped and took them to homes, and mostly I was visiting for their welfare, make sure they're okay, make sure, you know, they've got water, make sure they have food. But on top of that was just, oh, by the way, I have some seeds. Would you like them? And some of them, their instinct open. Majority of people here have always planted, you know, one form of way or another. And I've left it with them. Okay, I gave out probably like 200 something seeds. Out of all those packets, 160 gardens came up. And that was just that concern. And I was like, wow, something woke up in everyone. And it was just beautiful. Even though it was during a tragic, hard time, but it was so beautiful to see people go back to gardening. And you see them as a family, as a whole, out there using their hands, using that conversation, using that knowledge that, oh, my grandpa used to do it this way, my mom said do it this way, my dad said. And I've gone to homes where I've seen makeshift fences made from, I'm saying pure trash. Okay, well, people will say pure trash. They went out to the rubbish, got everything they could make, and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, my fence looks, all crazy." And I said, "No, this is the most beautiful fence I've ever seen." I said, like a Picasso watching. I mean, I wish I had taken photos of these fences because they safeguarded their garden from the roaming horses, the pigs, the rabbits. And you see every type of thing you could think you could never imagine was recycled to maintain the garden. That was so beautiful.
Great. Do you have more questions from the in-person audience, Kat? We do have one online here. Is there a seed bank and a cataloging or only casual exchange?
Okay. So for here, it's basically if someone wants to donate seeds, hey Twila, I have seeds. You want to use them? I said, sure. Where'd you get them? Oh, they're so and so seeds. So okay, I can use them, and I'll do that. But in general, I think people like at the larger farm, the Debekia farm and the U of A extension, they have a little farm out in St. Carlos. What is it called? Nunwoody Farm. And so for them, they get their seeds from Native Seed Search out in Tucson. And a lot of their seeds have also been collected from different families. So I hope that helped answer your question. Oh, I have an audience. Thank you. Okay. And I hope to come out in person one day.
And we look forward to sharing wisdom with you often in the future. We used your botanical book, by the way, to put all the Apache plant species names on our new garden that we planted. So thank you very much for a collection of that wisdom. And Twila, thank you so much. Please come often. We look forward to hosting you. So let's see here this afternoon. Oh, we have Francesca Claveri, who is a native plant program director at Borderlands Restoration Network. She will be talking about nurturing nature plant biodiversity in the Southwest USA. So a supportive topic to complement Twila's presentation. Thank you.